What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production! All aboard!
I brought my pencil.
What do you wanna do with your life?
Walk on home, boy. Yeah.
Like anything gets the same like you did before. Make it green, make it bleed, make it really.
What's up, Deuterinos? And welcome back to Rank 'Em All right here on the Rank'Em All.rocks, the podcast where a couple dudettes sit down and we talk about some of our favorite bands or artists, and we go down their entire discography. We rank all the songs that give us the album ranks. We literally rank them all. We are still working on Van Halen this week. We are diving down. This is Diver Down. This is the we now have after this album one more album for the David Lee Roth era of Van Halen before he has a little coda at the end. But joining me here today with a very crisp sounding Wi-Fi signal is Joe Grimes. How you doing, bud?
Hey, revitalized. not cutting out the thing.
No, that was absolutely hilarious, by the way. There I was into the show last week. We were sitting here. We were like, you know what? I'm going to toss it over to him, say thank you. And then, I'm over here on my screen. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at the screen. And I'm like getting stuff ready to end the show. And then there's just nothing.
Yeah.
And then I look over and you're frozen and you're just deadpanned like, okay, I guess it wasn't your pleasure to be here this week.
Oh, the timing on that was perfect.
Oh, it absolutely was. And also here with us today is the one and only podfather, Nate Phillips. How you doing, bud?
My dudes. I'm stoked to talk about Diver Down today. We were talking a little bit off air and jamming it together a little bit to refresh our ears, and it had been about a month since I had ranked this one, so to kind of go back and just make sure that what I wrote here actually made sense in my brain, because I actually have notes. There's not a lot. Sometimes it's just one word, but it's more effort than some of the earlier albums. I mean, I'm trying. You know.
So to start this episode off, last time we got together, we thought we were going to be able to tack this episode on to a big recording session. We're going to do Fair Warning, and then we're going to do Diver Down. Well, that didn't happen, but I definitely wanted to try and remember to bring this up because that way it wouldn't be something hanging on a limb. The song Unchained from Fair Warning was covered by Stone Sour.
Yes.
And it is on the deluxe version of Hydrograd, and it is awesome.
It is really good.
It is really awesome. And there was a bit of a change to the whole kind of like Dave hoo-ha talking bit. So it would be awesome if I could find exactly what they changed it with, because the Stone Sour version is just a little bit weird. It says, "Whew, man, this song is hard work. I mean, I don't know how the hell. I don't how. Let me tell you something, yeah? Rock stars don't wear watches. That's a good point. Come on, man. Give me a break. You're wearing a watch. Don't be a dick, dude. That's messed up. Well, I'm a legend. One legend coming up." What does that even mean?
Exactly. I was totally lost with that. Yeah. And you had told me about it before I listened to the song, and I was still like, okay, like what the hell?
I'm not really too sure where Corey's going with this one. Is Corey having a conversation with his other self that is a separate character for Slipknot? Is this the conversations that they have with themselves? Because if that's the case, ranking Slipknot's going to be very interesting. But no, the very first time I heard that, I'm like, what is he saying? It took a while, and I looked it up, and it literally doesn't make a damn bit of sense to me. So comparatively, the Van Halen one, David Lee Roth makes more sense in his version,
right,
than Corey Taylor does in his. So, but their version was absolutely killer, and I believe the other cover was Great White, right? Was that the other one? I actually didn't listen to that one, but it was just interesting because when I brought the song up on Google, it did say other versions, and I'm like, is that accurate? But it definitely was. So I wanted to clue you guys in on that. Maybe we'll cover that if we ever rank Stone Sour. That'd be really neat.
I would love to do that one as well.
But we are not doing that here today. Today we are covering the one and only Diver Down album, which is one of Eddie Van Halen's least favorite records. Did you guys know that?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason is that this was really not supposed to be an album.
Really?
Yeah, so what they were doing, guys, we mentioned this before about how quickly they were releasing albums and getting back on the road. And they did that for was it four albums? Van Halen 1, 2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning. Now we're coming into Diver Down. Diver Down was released in April of 82. And it was recorded from November of 81 to March of 82. And from what I understand, it was really supposed to be just a kind of a quick throw a song out for the radio, give them a break. They were going to take a break from the road and a break from recording because they were burned out. And it kind of ends up being a full album, which is why there's more covers and more intros because they just didn't have enough, man. They were burned out. And you can unfortunately kind of tell. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a fully bad album. And from what I can remember, it was originally supposed to be Dave wanted to do Dancing in the Street, but Eddie he likes to riff, and he didn't feel like he could really riff on that song. So that's when he proposed to do Pretty Woman, so that way he could really just play some cool riffs. Well, they ended up doing both on this record. And then, of course, they ended up doing some cool synthesizer stuff, which would also be a continuation of what we heard from on Fair Warning. And then, of course, further on into their career. What we did not get was that odd outro from Fair Warning was originally supposed to be the second part of that was supposed to be at the beginning of the next album. And I feel like because this was not really supposed to be the next album, we didn't get that. This album just kind of came together. But as I already said, there's a lot of covers on this album, and we'll definitely note that where they are. All tracks are written by Eddie, Alex Anthony, or Michael Anthony, and David Lee Roth, except where noted. And this album did in fact have a couple singles. How much do you want to bet that all the singles are covers?
There's 3 covers.
And there are 3 singles.
There
were only 2 singles, right?
There were 3 singles, and 2 of them were covers. The last one was not a cover.
Oh, huh.
So, the overall reception of this one seems to be kind of mixed. So it's going to be interesting to see where we land here amongst our ratings.
Mm-hmm.
But are you ready to dive into this one? Diver down into this one.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
So the first song is a cover. And it is Where Have All the Good Times Gone, written by Ray Davies.
I did not know that. So there's actually 4 covers on here.
Mm-hmm. So I've heard this. I've heard the original version of this song before. I don't dislike their version, but it doesn't really hit. We talked about on this little series before, starting the album with kind of a kicker. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, or at least set the tone. And I don't feel that from this. Despite kind of liking it, I don't love it. How about you, Nate?
Where Have All the Good Times Gone is not, in my opinion, we talk about a lot. If you go back to the Metallica, rank 'em all, one thing we consistently talk about is the quality of the first track.
Mm-hmm.
The drawing you into the listening experience, the getting the listener hooked on the concept that this is, you know what it is? This is the best way to say it. Got to make a little adjustment here. So, when you have a first impression, right?
Yeah.
That's in life. I walk up to meet somebody, I'm an asshole. They're always going to think I'm an asshole. But in music, it's a little bit different because as a band, every album, your fans are meeting you for the first time and what version of yourself you have become, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes I think bands don't consider long-term, because I think there's a lot of shit that could have been the intro to this album that would have been way cooler. I specifically think the Cathedral into Secrets could have been a cool way to start this album that would have totally shifted the vibe and energy of the album. But of course, we aren't Van Halen. So for me, the song was jamming. Like, it has some, you know, jamming parts that were fun, but literally that's the only word I physically wrote, jamming. So it's jamming, I guess.
Right on. How about you, Joe?
It's just, yeah, for me, it was an average start. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It just didn't feel like there was much substance to the song. You know what I mean?
You're right.
The only thing they had was that main guitar, da 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 da, you know, like, and then the chorus, the word, that's all I can really remember from it. There's nothing. It doesn't like just really just grab you and make you want to listen. And like, you know, Nate was saying, like, you know, starting with a couple different tracks, you know, one of these long intros that we've come to see in most of these albums, and going into another song, it doesn't kind of want to grab you and make you want to flip to the next track. You know, it makes you want to skip it almost, but not like listen through it and then like expect greatness from the second track.
There's multiple times so far with this band, and we talked about it before, where the song seems like it's going somewhere, but by the time you're into it, potentially into it, it's over.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this song is the same way. By the time you're actually clipped into the riff and you're into the jive and everything, I do think it's a groovy little cover, but I don't think it's their best cover. And I don't even think it's their best cover on this album. So
No.
I gave this one a 6. How about you, Joe?
5.5.
5.5. And Nate?
6.75.
6.75. So the next one is called Hang 'Em High. And what's really interesting about this is that on Wikipedia, we actually have some little snippets of clips of what Dave and Eddie have to say with an interview. And for Hang 'Em High, Dave says, I'm going to try my best to talk like Dave, but I'm not going to. It's like those westerns where they have some kind of dissonant sound in the background, like they have some harmonica, it only hits one note, ee, and that's when you know the hero's coming to town or something terrible's going to happen. And what happens is Edward will come around with come up with a song or a riff and immediately hear it, and I'll know right away what the scenario is. Eddie says, the solo was just loose, man. Fun, craziness. I play it better every night than I did on the record, but who cares? That has feeling. Actually, that was a really old song. So the other song could have been around for a little bit. I liked it better than the opening track, but not by too much. I feel like it has some energetic vocals. In fact, I wrote high energy but uninspired vocals. So it's got energy to it, but it's just like where are we going?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but we'll start with Joe this time.
I'm not too much. I mean, I think it's a good song, but also for me, it felt kind of forgettable. It just sounded like your run-of-the-mill average Van Halen.
That's kind of what I thought too.
Right? Yeah, it didn't stand out from anything else that we had heard. Which, I mean, I'm not expecting a lot of them to be different than what they do.
Sure.
You know, when we get into this, it's kind of like what you and I said when AC/DC came out with their new album. It's AC/DC doing what AC/DC does.
Right.
And it's kind of like what you needed at the time. And I think that's what this song is. It's Van Halen sticking to what Van Halen does.
What I will add to what you said there is that there are definitely tracks on here that feel like it's Van Halen doing what Van Halen does. But in comparison to not the last album so much, but even like Women and Children of Van Halen 2, those little songs that are in between that, like these B-sides or like these extra, like not extra songs because they're all on the album, but like just the unknown songs. Some of them just have a really big like I'm not digging this at all, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't have that on any of the songs here. I do feel like they have really come into their own sound, and they've developed how they write songs. And we talked about that on Fair Warning, that they're really finally settling into who they are as artists and getting comfortable with one another, which is very ironic because then that would all culminate with a huge album, and then it would kind of like that would take a new form after that. But that's to come. But I kind of feel the same way. Like there's a couple songs on here that definitely do grab that Van Halen vibe, but it's generally just them. It's not like them to the next level like you get with like we talked about it with Unchained on the last album. It was like, man, once you heard it, it was like this is it. They captured the riff, the vibe, everything in this one song that made this song special.
Mhm.
And I don't get that from man. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I get that on any of the songs on this album. To be debatable. That's my opinion. I'm not sure about what you got to say about later songs. But do you have anything else to add for Hang 'Em High?
No, I'm actually right there with you. Nothing really kind of screamed at me. There are some I really like, but nothing just made me scream like, "Oh my god, I love this song!" You know, like
as far as like that bit, like those big heavy hitters. You know, you're running with the Devils or like Unchained from the last one. That was like, man, this just hits and slaps.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's a slapper, but Nate, are you gonna slap this one?
Man, well, okay, so no, I'm not slapping this one. Not that I hate the song. I like the song quite a bit, actually. Here are my brief notes. I thought the trippy intro with Dave was really unique, as was the chorus. The chorus is really unique. And then I did enjoy that. It was like a fun solo. Fun is the word I would use. Fun. As far as, lack of depth on this album or a heavy hitter or a banger song that latches on to the masses, no. They did what they were doing and had been doing the whole time, relying on their cover work. The two of the bigger singles on this are two of the biggest Van Halen songs fucking ever, because of them using it right here when they didn't have their best work and they didn't have a single to roll out that was going to sell them. I'm just going to spoiler ahead here. Pretty Woman and Dancing in the Street comes out in the times they do and pop the band more and keep them relevant as they're building towards that next step. So is it their best work? No, but I do like Hang 'Em High. I think it's a fun tune. I gave it a 7.25.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I thought it was all around good song. I went with the 6.5.
6.5 from Joe, and from me as well. I gave you the exact same rank for that one. Now, one thing we have to talk about for Diver Down, fellas. There are a couple different intro tracks. Now, we've had this before. On previous albums. Sunday Afternoon in the Park on the last one was like that weird little like cyberpunky synthwave, like completely the title doesn't match the song at all. We talked about that. But I mean, we had it a couple different times before. But in this one, it really seems like they are space fillers. Or trying to set the mood. And it's going to be difficult to rank some of these because they're intros. So please, for everybody, bear in mind that, you don't have to agree with our ranks on these. If you really like any of these, rank them however you want. For me, it was difficult to really establish a high rank. And now it says my internet is unstable. Hopefully, we remain stable. There we go. We're back. We're cool. We're groovy. No, like nobody freezing.
No, you froze on my end, but no one noticed because you're the captain of the ship.
Well, hopefully it remains that way. So, the next track is an intro, Cathedral. I thought it was pretty cool. It's got some really interesting sounds to it. But that's it for Cathedral on mine. I don't know. Do you guys have anything written down for it?
I have some notes.
Go for it, Nate.
I thought this was utterly wild. Dave stepping into I'm going to use a really interesting phrase that I thought of when I was first listening to this. He's creating new modern classical.
Mm-hmm.
This has got a Moog kind of synth sound. It's real, like it's definitely a guitar, but it definitely has like effects that are being used that give it a Moog synthesizer feel, and it sets a pretty solid tone and bass, a great foundation for Secrets. That's why when we were at the first of this album and Where Have All the Good Times Gone, I honestly think Cathedral Secrets should have opened this album, and you should have bumped everything else down. And it would have maybe drawn people in a little bit more, and we would talk about Secrets as this banging hit because it just comes out right after this solid, mysterious intro. But it's also very, very skillful. I love it. I loved it. I really did enjoy Cathedral.
Cool. You got anything, Joe?
Not much. I mean, I wrote down it's just like anything, like you were saying, it's another intro, it's another filler. I felt like maybe the record label's like, hey, you guys got a lot of good songs, but we need more to it. Like, oh, okay, let's throw another minute and a half long intro, whatever, just to fill the spaces.
It kind of does feel like they're filling spaces, doesn't it? Like with these,
really, all that feels like. Yeah.
Well, because
although it's good. I mean, I like it, but
yeah.
It's like, okay, enough. Like we've got like several albums full of these.
I kind of feel like they were trying to inch closer to that 30-minute mark. To make it worthwhile to be an actual album instead of an EP.
People are gonna think we're a fucking punk band, man. Got a 24-minute album, 8 songs.
Nice, Dave. I like that. About Cathedral, Eddie said, I've been doing Cathedral for more than a year and wanted to put it on a record. Sounds like a Catholic church organ, which is how it's got its name. On that cut, I use the volume knob a lot. If you turn it up and down too fast, it heats up and freezes. I did 2 takes on that song. Right at the very end of the second take, the volume knob just froze. It just stopped. So that's what he's got to say about Cathedral. I gave Cathedral a 6.75. How about you, Nate?
7.75.
I almost made you give it a 70.75.
Woo, that'll skew the rank.
It will. How about you, Joe?
I'm actually I'm right at 7.
7. All right. So, as Nate said, coming into the next song, Secrets. Dave says, the nucleus of the lyrics came from greeting cards and get well cards that I bought in Albuquerque, New Mexico on the last tour. They were written in the style of American Indian poetry. May your moccasins leave happy tracks in the summer snows.
Okay.
Hey, man.
May moccasins leave happy tracks on the summer snow.
Summer snow, man. I like how this is like we were like describing Dave's candor and the way that he talks, and now we're just mimicking it and like just saying if we have sound bites for everything, we're just trying to make it sound exactly how he talks. Eddie says I used a Gibson double neck 12-string model, the same that Jimmy Page uses, and played with a flat pick. The solo in Secrets was a first take. I kind of laid back, and it fit the song. So, Secrets was a single, right? It was the 3rd single released in September of 82.
Now, when it was it released with Cathedral as an intro tag, or was it just Secrets separate?
It is actually not selectable, so I cannot click to see what was actually on it without doing a lot more research in the middle of the episode. But
no worries.
If you have notes, I can look it up. But
I do have a little bit of notage,
okay.
Bro. So a couple things stick out right away. The first thought, as soon as the official Secrets kicks in, there's that 80s sound. The very, very quintessential, what we remember the 80s sounding like.
Mm-hmm.
That guitar, whatever that guitar is that I'm talking about, it's there. It's here. It's this song specifically. Guitar layering in the solo is pretty cool. I dig that a lot. But my second set of notes in Secrets is that I really thought the song is grooving. It really is a cool tune. And Dave is more tame, which makes it so much better. Dave lays back, and it makes it better. Less is more, you fuck. Yeah, man. I probably shouldn't have sung so many
Right.
Less is better, you fuck. I like that. That should be a Rank 'em All t-shirt.
Oh, okay. I'll make that.
What I did find before we hit to Joe, the single record for Secrets was only an A and B side, one song each. And side A is Secrets, and side B is Big Bad Bill.
Oh.
So part of me, because maybe we were all born in the 80s. So like we were born right as the whole vinyl single era was kind of coming to an end, and we started going into CDs. I do assume that the whole point of releasing singles like this is to send them to the radio stations to let them play it instead of having to put the whole record on. They could easily just grab a, 7-inch or whatever and throw that on there. And you only got one song. Hey, this is the song Secrets from Van Halen's Diver Down. And it's like, it's that song. You don't have to worry about going into something else or anything like that. And I do wonder, like, if they put something on the other side, was it just for shits and giggles? Or was it because maybe one day they'll actually, and hey, here's a random one from, this is the other side of the single. This is Big Bad Bill. And people are like, what is this? But
that would be amazing. I will when we get to Big Bad Bill, give you my, like, if I was in the car and that shit happened, how I would have reacted. It'll be great.
No, I liked Secrets. Let's see. I got to get back to my rank. Yeah. I liked it. I definitely agree with what Nate has said so far about laying back. Less is more. Joe, do you agree with Nate's assessment?
I liked it. I liked the beginning of it. It's a little bit more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like there was a lot to the song, but also I feel like it didn't need to have a lot to the song. It is like exactly what he said. Less is more. Like sometimes like I'll find this kind of boring, but like there's not much to it, but it didn't need it. It was just like, oh, okay, that's just a nice even keel kind of song. I liked it. Yeah.
All right. What'd you give it for a rank there, Joe?
I kind of went back from Cathedral a little bit. I gave it a 6.
6. What about you, Nate?
Well, I set the stage. I told you that, in my opinion, Cathedral sets a solid foundation for what Secrets becomes, and I think it would make no sense if the foundation existed only for the actual building to be under it. So for me, I bumped it up just a little bit more. I gave the track an 8. It's just a 0.25 more than I thought Cathedral, but as a tandem together, you could realistically average that shit as like a 7.5 if you just give it like one song. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If they were just fucking one song, just make it one song, man.
Mm-hmm.
Make it one song, man. I gave
That's
the song.
Dave's argument. That was Dave's argument. He's like, God damn it, Eddie, just make it one song, man.
I gave the song a 7. I liked it. It's definitely all right. It's not my favorite track though. The next song, Intruder, is another intro track. Going into Pretty Woman, and this one, I feel like on its own it doesn't do much for me. They could have actually made a really weird sounding song if they just did this and made it its own thing.
Yeah,
because it almost has a different tone about it than Pretty Woman. Like this one has more of a kind of a suspenseful, deeper. Like, wow, where are we going with this? And you're like, all right. And then it goes into a more lighter sound when we get into Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
So
well, my biggest problem I have with it, you have this. You have Alex doing the dut the whole time, just the intro, and it almost gives you that feel when you go into Pretty Woman, like they're gonna go into the main riff, dun 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 dun, but then they go that subtle intro to Pretty Woman. Yeah, and I'm like, well, shit, why bother doing that? The intro, yeah, it did bug the crap out of me. I just like, it doesn't fit right to me. I didn't like it.
What about you, Nate?
It's like wasting an hour and a half, about a minute.
An hour and a half of Intruder intro.
I thought this was really groovy. It has a groove to it that's creepy. It's ominous. It's a fun sound and synergy is all I wrote. Fun sounds and synergy, because I think that does, again, a nice way to set up for something that could have been cooler. However, this is not the same as Cathedral, where the foundation is going to set the house up nicely. This foundation is built in a tub of lies, because Intruder has a nice setup, and we'll go from there. But I gave Intruder a 7.25.
7.25. What about you, Joe?
Man, I'm on the opposite scale there, man. I gave it a 2.
2. I gave it a 5. Yeah. It's not my favorite intro track on the record. The next song, though, Oh Pretty Woman, is a cover, and it was written by William Dees and Roy Orbison. And man, is this their best cover?
I like it.
Like, you don't do you think all right, Nate, what is their best cover, or is their best cover to come? Like, have they already played their best cover?
In my opinion, they have already played their best cover, and it is early in their discography. Going back through my notes here now, of them all, of all their covers they've done, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, Ice Cream Man is the best cover they have ever done. Just based on ranking, it almost got an 8. I'm just being, I'm looking at the data. I'm not trying to be like a smartass. I'm looking at my data, what I liked about what they do. You look at on the first album, You Really Got Me is fun. It's catchy, not their best. You look at, I don't even remember what the second album's cover was.
You're No Good.
You're No Good. Oh, and then I thought that was fucking terrible. It was not good. It was the worst way to start the album.
Yeah.
Could This Be Magic was the cover off of Women and Children First. Is that right?
I believe so.
And it was decent. Okay, so 7 there. And then so This Is Love. No, that wasn't a cover.
I don't think they had a cover on the second.
I don't think they did on
Fair Warning.
No.
So the highest average song rank for a cover that I can just see based off of what I have in front of me is You Really Got Me. And that's 7.75.
Okay.
I do love Ice Cream Man. I gave that one a higher rank. I gave that one the highest rank out of all of us. But to be fair, as far as songs that really are in the public view, You Really Got Me and Pretty Woman are probably the two that people think of when they think of Van Halen.
Yeah.
I think this is a killer cover. I like this song originally anyway. I really like the whole little like guitar walk. Dun 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 dun. It's very basic, but it's very catchy. You know, it's funny because that same little lick almost has like you can almost reverse it, and it sounds like one of the cop shows. I can't remember which one it is. Is it like dum 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 dum.
Oh, are you thinking like the Peter Gunn theme?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's you know, I'm just hanging out here, man.
Just zippity bop boom a doo flop.
That could be another shirt too, and the Van Halen like zippity bop doo flop. It's got like one wing here and the other wing here because it's such a big lot. No, I dig Pretty Woman. What about you, Joe?
I really like it. I didn't like it as much as like, you know, You Really Got Me. Like, it's just that I really like that riff anyway. But yeah, I mean, they didn't overdo anything. They didn't undersell it. They oversell it. They did it how they should have. You know, it's like it was perfectly done. Like you, I like this song since I was a kid, and it is one of those things. when you think of a Van Halen cover, you automatically, my head goes to those two, and definitely not, the next song up. But no, I liked it, man. Not
I
as much. Yeah.
I really like the guitar tone that Eddie has here. Like he really
Yes.
gets some good tone, and he stands out. And I really think the vocals here.
Yeah.
Less is more, but he still
Fuck.
but he still gets to be like over the top because the song itself is kind of over the top. And Mercy. Pretty
Yeah.
woman, yeah. Just the way that the overall song is actually like written, it allows him to be a little bit more showboaty, and
Yeah.
I think that works to it. Like he fits more so to the point of does the song fit Dave? I feel like Dave fits this song.
Yeah.
What about you, Nate?
First question. Are they playing the Enchantment Under the Sea dance? That was the first thought. Was like, this is in my head, Eddie living out some sort of weird fucking fantasy of like wanting to jam this at his high school prom. They never fucking got to, and the girl got away. And now he's fucking rich and famous, and he's like, watch this, bitch. I'm going to
Hey,
play that
you,
song to you.
Take your damn hands off her.
Yeah, get your damn hands off. Exactly. And Eddie never got that moment. So, he was like really upset about it or whatever. And he's like, we're doing Pretty Woman. And sure, it sounds nice and it is pleasant to listen to, as is the original. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this is again the tale of fucking two Van Halens. The over flourishing, too much from Dave. Ah! And all that shit. Like there's too many times where I hear that and I'm like, bro, if you would just tone down a fucking step, you would be one of the greatest lead singers of all time. And I mean that with my heart, man. I think he has the capacity and the vocal talent to do it, but I think he was directed, and maybe it was a sign of the times and whatever, to do this really over the top thing. And it doesn't jive with me as we get further, especially as he's evolved and matured. You know? Because he's not a 17-year-old kid writing that first album anymore or anything. He's a fucking man right now. You know? And they've toured and been around the world. So,
Listen,
I get you're still having your style, but,
Listen to his interviews, man. I saw it was an interview. It was from MTV. It was from the after party of the MTV Awards in 85 or 86. I don't remember which. But Dave was there doing an interview. And he was physically there talking into the microphone. But he was also over here somewhere. And then also at the after party was Van Halen with Sammy Hagar.
What?
They were also there. And Alex Van Halen said, this is the real Van Halen. That other version was just kind of a tester run. Oh.
Damn.
I gotta find that and send that to you guys, because there's a bunch of other like in between stuff with a bunch of other acts talking and what they liked about the show and whatnot. But the Van Halen stuff stuck out to me. Is like, Dave, hey, all the underdog, everybody won, and it was everybody having a good time. It's like, it was. He has an aura and sense about, like, part of that, as you said, Nate. He does turn it up, and he does the and who's and some other part of that is it's exactly who he is, and like it or not, right? It's I said a few episodes ago that part of how he talks and carries himself kind of reminds me of one of our friends, Richard, who is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Every time I see Dave talking, I think of Richard, because they had they were so different. They're not the same in any sense, but they have the very same cadence and randomness. However, Dave,
loud.
Dave, while he is random and when he's having fun like that and drinking or doing a real interview, if you listen to him with like Joe Rogan, he's random but with a point point in front of him. He just has a different way of thinking. Pretty Woman, I gave it a 7.75. What about you, Nate?
Take one off. I gave it a 6.75. Like I said, It sounds nice and everything, but again, I'm sticking with my opinion of the Tale of Two Van Halens, and this is the part of the band I don't love. They're so attached to these covers. I've said my piece.
Joe.
I got 7.5. I like it, but like for me, I liked You Really Got Me like a little bit better. I still like this one.
So Pretty Woman was the first single, of course, released in February before the album was even out. And oh yeah, you bet this was all over the radios back then.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
You know, it captured that. You know, and, you know, Nate's hammering on about the covers, and we might have said it before, but this was an era where covers were a little bit more relevant into popular music. It was not unheard of, you know, because you heard just some years before this, Creedence Clearwater Revival did Heard It to the Grapevine, you know, and it became a massive hit for them. That was already a massive hit, but it was just, here's Creedence. Oh, I love Creedence. Oh, them playing Heard It to the Grapevine, that's awesome, you know. So here's Van Halen playing Pretty Woman, which is almost 15, 20 years old now.
Yeah.
In a more modern style. People dug that. Mm-hmm. But the next single is the next song, Dancing in the Street. That was also a cover written by Marvin Gaye, Ivy Hunter, and William Stevenson. Dancing in the Street. I actually have some sound bites from this one. Dave says, it sounds like more than 4 people are playing, when in actuality it's almost like there are almost 0 overdubs. That's why it takes such a short amount of time to record. Eddie says it almost takes as much time to cover a song, make a cover song sound original as it does to writing a brand new song. I spent a lot of time arranging and playing synthesizer on Dancing in the Streets, and the critics wrote it off as it's just like the original, so forget the critics. These are good songs. Why shouldn't we redo them for the new generation of people? So that's him actually defending why they're selecting to do covers, saying that, you know, that harkens back to their start as like a party band, you know, to do some covers and always kind of put their own original flair on it. But also now that they're on the main stage and they're headliners, you're sprinkling in these covers to bring old stuff that you liked forward. And let me just say that this is not my favorite Van Halen cover, and I do like the song, actually. But the version I always think of, it's not the Van Halen. I actually did not know that Van Halen did this on, like, it wasn't until I actually heard it. I'm like, okay, I remember hearing this version. The one that I always remember is the one with David Bowie and Mick Jagger. Very awkwardly, just the two of them dancing in the middle of nowhere, and then like getting in each other's faces.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
It is so bad. And that's the version that I remember of the song. I don't know why. It's just I don't hate this. It's a kind of a step down from Pretty Woman. I think the synthesizer
major step down from Pretty Woman.
To me, the synthesizer sounds kind of neat enough to add its own flair to it. But Joe, we'll start with you. What'd you think about it?
Dude, I had a major drop from Pretty Woman to this. I didn't dig it at all. And I do like the song normally, but it's just like, man, I feel like they really missed the mark on this one.
Okay. Nate.
Just too much Van Halen into the song, I feel like.
Brando, you said I don't hate this, right?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
My literal only notes for Dancing in the Streets say, and I quote, I don't love this. So that is all I have to say about that song. I think that the opinions of why it was done, why it shouldn't have been done, did it miss the mark, whatever have been stated. Just to flat out say it, I don't like it at all. It's a 5.
A 5. Ooh. What about you, Joe?
Boy, he was more generous than I was. I got a 3, man.
3. Both of you are more generous than me, or less generous than me. I gave it a 7.
3, 5, 7, counting up by odds.
Here we are. The next one is an original intro.
Yeah.
This is called Little Guitars Intro.
Just make it one fucking song. Less is more.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Fillers, gotta meet that quota.
The album did not need 12 tracks. It could have been good with 9.
Yeah.
As I said, it's hard for me to rate intros. So and I kind of feel like I rated this one because of what I mean. It's an intro, but it's not really a song. I don't have anything to say about it because I'm going to wait for my points to come across for the actual little guitar song. I just gave this a 6. And we'll go to Nate. What'd you think?
I loved this. I think the flamenco style guitar is incredible. I gave it a 7.
I thought that was really neat, but it was hard for me to rate it any higher because it's so short and it doesn't really go anywhere because it's the intro to the damn next song. Anyway, what'd you think, Joe?
I split the difference between you guys. I got 6.5. Nothing too much to it. I did like it, but it's just another intro.
So that leads us into Little Guitars, which is an original track. And here's what Dave and Eddie have to say about it. Dave says, Edward was saying he's seen this TV show with a flamenco guy doing all these wonderful things with his fingers. And he says, I figured out how to do that with one pick. Watch this. And he did it. And it sounded better than the original. It sounded Mexican to me. So I wrote a song for Señoritas. The guitar he used on the recording was a miniature Les Paul built by Nashville luthier David Petchelat. Good luck with that one, guys. And sold to Eddie on the earlier Fair Warning tour. Eddie says, I think the best thing I do is cheat. I came up with the intro after I bought a couple of Carlos Montoya records, and I was hearing this finger picking going, my God, this guy's great. I can't do that. So I just listened to this style of music for a couple days, and I just cheated using a pick. I'm doing these trills on the high E and pull-offs with my left hand, slapping my little finger on the low E. If there's something I want to do and can't, I won't give up until I figure out some way to make it sound similar to what I can really do. So very interesting.
It's amazing. And that's why he became one of the most greatest guitar players of all time.
Yeah.
No boundaries because he reinvented boundaries.
He really decided that I can't do this, so I'm gonna find a way to do it that fits my style. Yeah. And that's he didn't just sit there for so long trying to get it right, and then give up. He's like, no, I'm gonna do this, damn it. So Little Guitars to me, fellas, I actually really like this song. And I don't know about you guys. Does this song give you Police vibes?
Not what I wrote. Not that I mean, I agree with you. It has some Police vibes, but that's not what I wrote.
Like it's not like
another band comes to mind.
Oh, okay, but to me, I was just it was like the second listen to of the album that I was listening to, and I'm like, man, this kind of sounds like Police a little bit, and then especially with the da 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 da. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I don't want to like that.
Yeah.
But then I do, and I can't really pinpoint why, other than I'm like, that sounds like very Police to me.
It's just fucking catchy. It's some catchy shit, bro.
So that's what I got for Little Guitars. I think it's a pretty neat little song. What about you, Joe?
I don't have much on it. It's another one of those that threw me off from the intro to the song. Here we have the intro is all acoustic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, okay. Then you're thinking, when you go into the next song, it's going to be similar, and it's really not. It's nothing like the intro at all. My thing was I was trying not to have the intro have my judgment influenced by the intro because it's so much different.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's just another one of those average songs for me.
Okay. How about you, Nate?
Okay, so out of the gate, you already kind of took away my biggest note because I really dig the chorus. But more than the chorus itself, I love the ambient guitar that happens right after. There's some squealing and noises that are happening that are going on that are kind of just creating this vibe. I fucking love it. The verse is signature Van Halen. That is them. That is, they have maybe for the first time officially harnessed and said, this is what we sound like.
Yeah.
And we want to sound like that right here. This is where we need to use our sound. Okay. AC/DC, but good.
Interesting.
I gave the song an 8.25.
Wow. 8.25.
Okay.
How about you, Joe?
I got 5.5.
5.5. I gave it a 7.5. This is a track that the more that I heard it, well, on my first listen through, it didn't get a 7.5 out of me. It probably got somewhere in the 6. The more that I listen to it, though, the more that I like the last few songs on this record, more than I like the rest of the songs on the record, pretty much. Like the early part of this record, don't do it for me in comparison. In fact, if you look at my ranks, almost 6, 6.5, 6.75, 7. Oh, there's a 5, 7.75, 7. It's almost like we're kind of doing this kind of thing. It starts off low and it just kind of builds into a better album as it goes on. The next track is another cover. Big Bad Bill is Sweet William Now, and it was written by Milton Ager and Jack Yellen. And from what they've got to say about it, Dave says, I think it's a great song. Why do I keep doing that?
I think it's a great song.
Why not?
I think it's a great song. There's this thread winding its way through all of Van Halen's music and all of our albums since the beginning with Ice Cream Man. I played acoustic guitar and songs like this for quite a while before I ever even joined Van Halen. It's music. Why do I have to bang my head every single song on every album? I don't think the audience has that much lack of creativity or imagination. So there's Dave saying, you know what? I like doing my stuff, but I like this stuff. I like being just bluesy in.
He's an artist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Eddie says it was Dave's idea to do Big Bad Bill. He bought himself one of those Sanyo Walkman type things with the AM/FM radio, and you can record off the radio if you like something that you hear. And he was up in his bedroom of his father's house, and he found out that if he stood in a certain spot, and he pointed the antenna a certain way, he picked up weird radio station from Louisville, Kentucky. And he recorded Big Bad Bill and played it to us. And we started laughing to ourselves silly, going, that is bad. Let's do it. Dave said, hey, we can get your old man to play the clarinet. And we said, sure. So, and he's like, he continues, it's so funny because I couldn't play the song for you right now. I had to read because there's so many chords. I just couldn't remember it. So here's my father to the left of me, sitting in a chair with a music stand in front of him, and I'm sitting next to him with sheet music in the stand. And Mike was there too, and he has an acoustic guitar bass, and the kind they have in a Mexican restaurant, so they come up and play in front of you and aggravate you. And we had a great time. It looked like it was like an old 30s or 40s session. And I used some thick Gibson hollow body with effing holes. My father hadn't played in a long time because he'd lost his left hand middle finger about 10 years ago, and he was nervous. And we told him, Jan, just have a good time and make mistakes. That's what makes it real. I love what he did, but I was thinking back 10 years ago when he was smoking, playing jazz, and he played exactly what he wanted. And Dave adds in, I think when you hear Mr. Van Halen playing, you'll have an idea. It's a shadow of where Eddie and Alex are now. There's a sense of humor in there, a lot of technique, and a whole lot of beer. So yeah, neat little thing where Jan Van Halen played clarinet on Big Bad Bill. And this, you know what, this one, it's funny because as soon as I heard it, I thought of Ice Cream Man when I heard this. And it's got a similar vibe to it. And I truly believe this is probably another underdog favorite amongst us for something that they did, because it's so out of the ordinary and it fits Dave's vocal style. So or maybe he fits it because he really likes it and he digs that kind of style. But Joe, I remember you telling me that this was low key your favorite song on the album so far. What do you got to say about it?
Yeah, God help me. I actually love this song. It really, like, it's letting Dave. We talk about the whole vaudeville type Dave shit. This is letting Dave be Dave. You know what I mean? He, like, in a sense, we've talked about, we don't really feel like he fit Van Halen because he's so freaking vaudeville-ish. But
Yeah.
I think this was perfect for him. And I kind of like this kind of music anyway. And it threw me off when I got to this. I'm like, ooh, wait, what's this? You know. But no, I really, really like this song. I probably listen to this song more than any of the others on the album. It's just, it's different. It is definitely not Van Halen, but I liked it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Nate?
I put Intro. I'm absolutely remembering when I'm sitting here and I was listening to that, and I was laughing my ass off just at the intro, going, what the fuck am I about to get into here? Like, what is this? Just based on the title of the song, too, I was like, what is this? But yeah, I love the song. Flute solo is incredible, but it's actually a clarinet, as you're just telling me. So that was something that I miswrote, but I thought it was a fucking flute. It sounded kind of like a flute. It's cool as shit. I really love the tune. As I told you guys off air, you know, my sister's fiance, guy husband, my nephew's dad, however you want to look at it, is named William. And he's a tattoo artist. So he's a large tattooed dude, and he's kind of intimidating a little bit, you know? And so I get to this song and I'm listening to it, and I immediately sent it to her because, you know, he's this heavily tattooing looking dude. But then in his real life, he's a soft-spoken, gentle dad who's super patient with my nephew and like he's Sweet William now because he's home, you know. And my sister and I had this amazing laugh just about like that's exactly his story. Like he went from Big Bad Will to old Sweet William, just you know, just like that. So I love the tune, and as of now, because I can officially spoil it, this is hands down the best cover they have ever done. I gave it a 9.
Damn. All right, Joe.
I'm actually on with Nate. The first time I heard this, I was instantly obsessed with this song. I actually have a cousin. She's really into this kind of stuff. She's into a band. I don't know if you ever heard of Caravan Palace. Does it sound familiar? They do kind of like a modern style, kind of like this shit. And I sent that to her, and she likes Van Halen, but she goes, "Holy shit! How have I never heard this song ever?" You know. Now she's obsessed with it, but I agree. I think this is their best cover. I also gave it a 9.
Wow. Well, I gave it an 8, fellas.
Hey,
So,
that's a great score.
Still good.
Yeah, no, it is the highest ranking one so far on the album. We have a couple more. The next song, it is it is an original song, the Full Bug. We got a couple notes here. Dave says, when you have a cockroach. Wasn't ready for that.
Cockroach just won't go away.
You know when you have a cockroach and they run around the house and they get into a corner. We used to have these shoes called PRFCs, Puerto Rican fence climbers, okay?
Oh, Dave.
Oh, man. And this was aptly titled because you were running from the police or what have you. And you were wearing your PRFC, so you could hit the fence at a dead run, and your foot would stay in, and you could commence climbing immediately, which was the essence of the whole sport, anyway.
Wow.
Where are we going,
Why did
Dave?
he call it a sport? What is happening, Dave?
Where are we going with this?
I'm gonna put $25 on Juan. He's making it over that fence faster than that cop because he's got his PFC.
He got his PRFCs.
I imagine Dave drank before he talks.
Oh. And these were also great shoes for when the cockroach moves into the corner and you can't get at it with your foot or the broom anymore. So you just jam your toe into the corner as hard as you can.
Good Lord.
And if you did it right, you got the full bug. So this slang means bam. Yeah, you have to give it everything you got. Make the maximum effort. Do everything possible. Get the full bug. That is a long ass story to get. Where...
PRFCs, bro.
Eddie says Dave plays the acoustic guitar and harmonica on the intro of the full bug. My lines in the middle of that are different. I've been doing a lot of stuff with Alan Holdsworth, and he inspires me. That's all he said about it. So, the full bug. I actually kind of like this song. I might like it a little bit more now that I know the full story behind it. And what I really liked was the whole middle part, or it's like, yeah, because you have like a guitar solo, but then you have like a little harmonica solo too. That I thought was really neat. It's got a similar kind of like a bluesy vibe, but it's heavy. You know, it kind of carries along, and I feel like it hasn't been for a while, but song flow counts into making a good song. Sometimes you can be too eclectic, because I've never really labeled Van Halen as progressive. But sometimes in some of these other songs that are in their catalog that we've covered, it seems like they kind of hop all over the place sometimes. That's not the case here, and I really dig it. How about you? We'll start with Nate.
I love the Blues the Train, a Common Blues intro.
Mm-hmm.
Made me think of Death Clock and Metalocalypse a little bit. I think that it has a slamming verse, which is very accurate and fitting to that story, that you slam that shoe in. I wrote slamming verse, so the intent is felt. I felt that slam from this album. The song has levels and layers, which is really good, and again, unique to their style, which is good. 7.25 is my my rank.
Awesome. What'd you guys say, Joe?
I right along everything with you guys are saying. I think it's an all around good song. I didn't have really many notes on it. I really enjoyed it. This is actually kind of one of those I kind of had to go back and listen to several times. I did change my ranking a couple different times, but I kept going back to it. And I liked it. I got this one a 7.5.
We're kind of in the same boat here, guys. I gave it a 7.75.
Wow,
Okay.
all within that 2.25s.
Yeah, I really feel like the song really grooves along, and as I said, that definitely counts. The last song, the outro of the album. It is a cover of sorts, and it is "Happy Trails," written by Dale Evans, and it is the old "Happy Trails to you," and but it's completely a cappella.
I love it.
And here's what Dave has to say.
Oh God.
Joke them if they can't take a fuck.
Wait, what? Holy crap, Dave. Wow.
I can't take a fuck.
Wow. How is that not a t-shirt? How is that not a t-shirt?
Oh, that's good.
Joke them if they can't take a fuck, Sylvie. You wouldn't believe the number of TV commercials and radio jingles that this band can sing in a 4-part harmony. I was nannied and weaned by TV. That's the babysitter around here when you're growing up. So to sit in front of the tube, you turn into an idiot. I remember all the commercials. We've been singing "Happy Trails" for General Airport use for years. And we wanted to do something wonderful and different for you. So Dave has given us a couple of his story of the full bug and his PRFCs, and joke them if they can't take a fuck.
Take a fuck. Which, hey, that fits perfectly for "Less is Better, You Fuck."
Yeah.
Joke them if you can't take a fuck, because less
not
is better,
wrong.
you fuck.
Again, this was hard to rank. I gave it a 6. That's where it lies for me. I feel like Joe gave it worse. What'd you give it, Joe?
I'm at it like 2.5, man. That was dumb. Like a wasted track.
I thought it was dumb. I like that. All
Dumb.
right, Nate.
I'm a fan of them again taking a risk. I love the fact that they joked Joe and he's didn't even realize it. Joe, they joked you. They said joke them if they can't take a fuck. You didn't
they
get
did.
to taking a fuck, and you gave it a low rating. They joked
did.
you.
I
didn't
did.
take
They
this
got me.
song. I didn't take this song too seriously, but I also fucking took it super seriously. And I said this earlier in Van Halen. They're very serious about their silliness. They take their silliness very seriously, and
True.
that's a beautiful thing. I gave this tune an 8. I do in fact dig it. I God damn, they got me. I marked down.
Were you ready for that? Were you in the car listening to this and you're just cruising along and then they start doing the bum-ba-dee-da, bum-ba-dee-da?
Happy trails. Oh, that shit killed me.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the album.
Happy trails to it.
And so my average rank was a 6.77. Nate's was a 7.27. And Joe's was a 5.7.
Okay.
Yeah, so Joe was Joe. I believe this is your. No, it is not your lowest ranking one. It is your second. Van Halen 2 was your lowest. That gives us an average master rank of 6.58. That is a bit of a step down from Fair Warning, which I think we can all kind of agree on. That just based on overall album strength, I feel like, man. If they weren't forced into this or chose to do a full album here, maybe it could have been better if they did it later. However, asterisk here, the fact that they put this out when they did and then went on the road again and then took a long break is the reason why we got the album after this.
Okay.
That's true.
Highest ranking song on the album is Big Bad Bill.
Yeah.
At an 8.66. And the lowest is Intruder at a 4.75. Guys,
Right. Believe so.
thank you guys for joining me here in ranking Van Halen Diver Down. Definitely.
It was a blast.
This one was an interesting one for sure. It almost kind of had, man, it had vibes of some of the other albums that we've done. You know, harkening back to Ice Cream Man with Big Bad Bill. Hey, we had a couple cool covers on here, and maybe one or so, maybe two really solid Van Halen songs that maybe aren't monster hits. But you know, all in all, I don't think it's a bad album. You know, but it definitely isn't one as an album that I'm probably going to be coming back to.
Not often.
Yeah, so, man, that's all I got to say. Nate, do you want to help us out and tell people where they can find us all across the interwebs?
Of course, you guys know you can check out Rank 'em All on all those amazing podcasting platforms. Get us on Podbean, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Google Podcast, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Radio, TuneIn, many others, Alexa. Let's hear some Rank 'em All podcasts. I think you can do that now. I haven't tried it officially, but I'm pretty sure you can. I think you need to say, Alexa, play Rank 'em All podcasts or podcasts by Rank 'em All. I'm not sure. Figure it out for your damn selves. Also, go to rankemall.rocks to check us out. Go to our YouTube, like, subscribe, comment below. Also, do those same things on Facebook. Like and follow the page. Check us out on Instagram. Get us on Twitter. You guys know where to find us because it's easy to search Rank 'em All, baby. That's going to do it, I think, Brando. Do we have anything else we want to throw out there before we hit that happy trail?
Well, I want to once again thanks Joe Grimes for joining us here on the episode and ranking these songs here with us, and the fact that he is not frozen now. He's just sitting still. He's not frozen.
Oh, sorry.
It would have been funny as fuck if he would have legit
I couldn't.
froze,
I
though.
thought about sitting there for a minute. I'm like, I could pull this off for a while. But no, okay.
Well, yeah, thank you once again for joining us, Joe. And
Of course.
until on the next time, we're going to be covering probably one of the biggest albums in this band's catalog. I'm super excited to talk about it. Of course, it's 1984. This is Dave's swan song with the band, or at least for now. And until then, for Nate and for Joe, I've been Brando. Happy trails to you We'll see you in 1984.